Today's topic is about winter weather before a winter storm extreme cold hits. Today's topic is about cold weather storms when encountering a blizzard or a snowstorm. Every year, in some parts of the country, there is always a snowstorm, ice storm, cold, severe weather, and so forth. When these patterns of weather occur, people often don't think much of it and feel that it's not a serious matter. It's not as serious such as a firestorm or an earthquake or a tornado. So they look at winter storms as being not so important, but make no mistake about it. It does have serious consequences. And I like to share some of these points with you so that you are prepared for these type of weather storms when they embark upon us. What's been interesting, there are three main reasons for death that happen during cold, severe weather, which I found very interesting. People die from vehicle accidents during severe storms. They're driving out there in the snow. They're sliding and crashing on the ice, not experienced to driving in the snow. People suffer heart attacks from being outdoors shoveling the snow because it's a stressful exercise, or chopping ice, or cleaning off ice debris from the roof of their homes and so forth. And the other one, the third main factor for death, is something known as asphyxiation, which basically means the source of heat that you're getting in your house that is not natural heat, or perhaps maybe from being in your vehicle from the exhaust pipe, which is causing carbon monoxide. It has nothing to do with the snow itself, but is the source of heat. When you're confronted during these storms in the winter, there are two basic things that you need to keep in mind before these storms come upon you. The first is you should have a checklist, such as an emergency preparedness list in case of disaster. A checklist will basically make sure that during the winter storm, you have a checklist for that as well. Things to do, things to be prepared for before the storm hits you, and how to stay informed. So those two factors are very important. Now, speaking about a checklist, one of the first things that's very important is that you should have a ready-to-go bag for each individual in your household, such as the emergency preparedness. When you took that workshop, it emphasizes about having certain items in your ready-to-go bag. These are items that should last you for 3 days or more, such as food, water, toiletries, medication, tools, important things that you can put in your backpack so that it's ready to go when you need to grab it and take off. So during these snowstorms or blizzard, if there's a power outage, you may have to evacuate to temporary housing or shelter. So within that backpack, you'll have the things you need. You should have among those items is a communication plan in writing, so that if all you are out of the house and you need to escape or evacuate, you know who to contact in terms of your family members, your close friends, your coworkers, to let them know where you are. Telephone numbers. You need to let people know that you're seriously hurt. Knowing where the nearest emergency room is, the hospitals, first responders, their phone numbers, ambulance. And your family members and friends should have your emergency contact number so they know how to get in touch with you as well. And everyone in your family knows how to get in touch with each other. And make sure that during these snowstorms, when you talk about the heat in your house, it is recommended that you pick one room in the event that you can have the heat turned up in one room where everyone can stay in there, and the other thermostats can be lowered in the other rooms to conserve energy. So if everyone stays and remains in one room, that will be the most comforting way to share the heat until the storm subsides, and then you can go to your own separate rooms. Again, that is just a suggestion. Now, in terms of the plumbing in your home, whether the main valves somewhere in your home, utility room, or in the basement, you should make sure that the proper pipes are properly insulated. This prevents the pipes from freezing, because the water that's inside the pipes can turn to ice and then cause cracks in the pipes, which can cause major damage. That'll be very costly. So make sure that their pipes are properly insulated throughout the house. You should also know where your main shutoff valves are located at in your home. The main shutoff valve is usually the valve that's kept in the basement or in the utility room near your boiler or heating system. So the one that you want to turn off is the water that leads to the pipe that goes to the outside of the house, not the inside of the house. There's another valve that maintains water flow in the house. Make sure you close the exterior water pipes. But at the same time, those pipes on the outside, the valve should be opened on the outside, but the main valve that controls the water flow should be shut off inside the house for that pipe to circumvent freezing. Now, the water that runs in the house, provided that you have heat, there's no concern to shut them off. You can still use the water as normal. But in the event that you have a blackout and there's a power outage and your furnace is not working, and your furnace is going to be out for 2 or 3 days, then you should open up all your valves in the interior house, not all the way, but just open them up just enough so that the remaining water in those pipes can drip out to prevent them from turning into ice, freezing, and thus causing a breakage in your pipe. If you're unaware of where these shutoff valves are, contact someone. Now, if you own a vehicle, you should make sure that you top off on gas. Go to a gas station, fill up your gas tank, because you never know. Because if you were to have an outage and it's going to be extremely cold, you may go into your car, your family and friends may sit in your car, and you may start up the car to turn on the heater to keep warm during increment times until 911 or the first responders arrive to come get you. Now, what's important is that you should not have the car running in a closed environment with the garage door closed, because that is a form of asphyxiation from the carbon monoxide. So make sure that you either have the garage door open, or you pull the car outside, or you have ventilation coming in so that you have the car running with fresh air coming in there. So keep the windows cracked open slightly to allow fresh air to circulate until help arrives. Also, you should ensure that your vehicle is properly prepared with good threading on your tires. You may even want to consider investing in winter tires during severe cold weather. And then after the winter subsides, you can take those tires and take them off and then put your summer tires back on. And lastly, you may want to consider about purchasing a generator, which a generator is kept outside the house. That is a backup source of electricity. Again, if there were to be a surge or a power outage for 2 to 3 days, that generator can supply enough energy to keep certain things going, depending on what type of generator you have. Some can go up to 2 hours, some can run up to 4 hours or 8 hours by battery, and some can go on indefinitely because they run by gas. These will keep certain electrical items in your house on, and you can keep certain appliances on, such as the refrigerator and so forth. Okay. Another thing that's very important to consider is clothing. So as you put your things into your go bag, you know that this is not summer clothing. But basically, you have your shorts, your t-shirts and things like that you keep in the summer. But for the winter, make sure that you change that over and you have the proper winter clothing in your backpack, such as hats, gloves, scarves, pants, boots, ready to go. And if these items are bulky and they fill up your backpack, then have a second bag ready to go. So you got one on your backpack and a ready to go bag to go with you with these winter items. Also, each member in your family should have a blanket to go as well, because you may have to go to a shelter. Okay, so these are the basic necessities you may need to think about before the storm hits your area. The second thing I want to talk to you about is staying informed. So I'm going to discuss a few places where you can stay informed in terms of weather-related matters, and after the storm in terms of what to do. It's important to stay on top of the news for your local news report for the weather. They will keep posting where the storm is, where it's approaching, when it's leaving, and so forth. They will even warn you if you need to evacuate. And they will provide information in terms of seeking temporary shelter. You can get that information online as well, through the television or through the internet. Also, I would encourage all of you to download apps, because in the event that there should be a power outage and your television is not working and the internet is not working, and you have your phone and you have a tablet and those are charged, and you have Wi-Fi service through your network, you're able to log on to get that information. And the two apps that I recommend at this time are very good apps. And the first one is known as Code Red. And it looks like this, what's on behind me on the wall. Now, Code Red is an app that is officially recognized by the Rhode Island federal government for the state of Rhode Island and the Rhode Island Emergency Management System. So all the news that occurs in Rhode Island is usually posted in the Code Red app. I also recommend a second app, which is known as the American Red Cross. The American Red Cross app looks like this, what's behind me on the wall. The American Red Cross is my favorite app. It's amazing. It has all types of information in there related to all types of catastrophic disasters, cold weather. And in addition, they have information related to first aid, CPR. For example, if there are people in your household that should sustain an injury or get severely sick or they're bleeding or whatever the case may do, the Red Cross has information in that app to tell you how to go about assisting that individual until 911 comes to the rescue. So the American Red Cross is an amazing app. I really suggest that you download those two apps, Code Red and the American Red Cross. Also, your local TV network like ABC, NBC, or CBS, they also have apps that you can download onto your phone as well. Now, the Rhode Island Emergency Management System has a website, and I'm going to show you that website, and they can show you how to navigate through there. And they have information related to the weather during these emergency situations. So the first website that you would log into is this website right here, listed below. And it would look like this behind me on the wall. Up on the right-hand corner, you'll see the tab that says Weather and Transportation. You click on that link. It'll pull you to a second page to the National Weather Service news, which looks like this. This news is run by the federal government. And it gives you a second-by-second update. And all the local news usually follows that as a general guideline about the weather that's specifically conducive to your location. Now, in reference to the checklist, If you want a checklist, the Rhode Island Emergency Management System has a recommended checklist that you should have on their homepage. So when you go to their homepage, you will go further down on the bottom, pull this up, and you will see a section like this. When you click on that link, it'll say citizens, resources for emergency management system. And then they have another one for the police, for businesses. So there are different pages. So as you go through there and navigate through those different pages, you'll see one that's notified by hazard. And hazards. So each of these links have different things. So you go down to the far bottom and they have one specifically for cold weather. Once you find that one, you click on that link, it'll pull up the page and it'll give you information related to the weather. And then it has a checklist of what things that you should have to be prepared. And that page will look like this. When you click on that link, print that out, and you already automatically have a to-go list in terms of getting your gas, in terms of having window trims around your house, insulation for your pipes and so forth. It gives you all the things to do to be prepared for winterization. And also be aware of your local network in terms of the news. Channel 6, which is ABC, Channel 10, which is NBC, and Channel 12, which is CBS. And they each all have their link to their website as well. So for the first one, their link is as follows. For NBC, Channel 10, their website is as follows. Channel 12, CBS, their website address is as follows. Another source of information that's important to know is what's known as the open shelter. These are facilities that provide heat. So for example, if your home should suffer from an outage and you have no heat, you can go to these shelters to keep yourself and your family warm. Where to find this information is basically on two locations. REMA, the Rhode Island Emergency Management Agency. And their shelters are known as warming shelters. That's the terminology that they use. So when you click onto that link, it'll give you a listing of all the cities in Rhode Island. And it looks like this page that's on back wall that I'm pointing to right now. So as you look there, you will click on to the one that's closest to your home and it will provide you with the information of where to go. They usually have between 1 to 4 facilities within your area. If there's a vacancy there, it'll also let you know if there's a vacancy or if it's full. You can call to make sure if they have availability before going out to that facility. Or you can use the website at the American Red Cross. That's also located on the apps, or you can go directly to their website. They use the terminology as open shelter. So warming shelters and open shelters are really basically the two of the same. When you click on the link for the open shelters, you would click in, provide your address and the city you live in, and it'll tell you the available shelters that are there for you to go, whether there's a vacancy or not as well. So those are the two websites and two apps that you could use. Now, if you don't have any availability after locating those two facilities, call your town hall or the mayor's office. You can call them during the day hours and ask them about shelters that you can go to take yourself and your family. Or you can call 211, which is available 24/7 to provide you with information. One of the local operators will be more than happy to find a location for you to go if they can find a vacancy, and then they will steer you to that direction, and then you would go to proceed to that facility. So with the television and the internet and the Wi-Fi on your phone, Android or Apple, all the information is there, which will help you stay informed. And do not forget your neighbors. Be aware of your next door neighbors. For example, where I live, I am the only deaf individual who lives in my neighborhood, but many of my neighbors know me, and I have reached out to them, and they know that in the event of a serious emergency, I may not overlook something, or I may have overlooked something. They will come and check up on me using the buddy buddy system. And that system has worked for many years for me. I encourage you to get to know your neighbors. Okay. Doesn't matter if you live in a private house, a condo, or an apartment complex, you should have some type of buddy system where everyone knows who to check in on everybody else. Stay together and stay safe by helping each other. Thank you.